Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clip Switches, brought to you by Wellness Forum Health, the Wellness Forum Institute, and Make Americans Free Again. Couple things, just a quick announcement. Food bars are ready to ship. We still have a backlog, but the sooner you place your order, the sooner it'll get to you. These are the walnut, fruit and nut crunch bars, walnuts, apricots, dates, chia seeds, all natural ingredients, and they are delicious and filling. We ship them in a box of 12 for $36. And if you call the office and order some of our other products, you can get shipping for free. So that number is 614-841-7700. Next thing, everybody loves free stuff. And next week is our Make Americans Healthy Again Wellness Forum style boot camp. It's 3 nights from 8 to 11, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, p.m. Eastern Time. We'll record it for people who can't join us live. And the topics are going to include, but there will be a whole long list. I'll just give you a couple. The controversies about dietary fat and cholesterol and what's all the fuss and how does it matter and what does it have to do with you? DMSO, is it a miracle supplement or snake oil? Thyroid health, a discussion about nutrition policy in the United States, why it matters to you, why it should matter to you. Lots of time for questions and that sort of thing. So save them up. I'll allocate time every evening for some questions and many, many more topics. I won't read the whole curriculum here, but it's free. All you have to do is email Pam Popper at wellnessforum.com and we will sign you right up. All right. One more thing, the membership drive. I'm just going to make this a permanent thing. You buy a membership if you're a first-time member, and we will give you a certificate equal to the dues that you pay, which you can then invest in programs like our autoimmune disease work boot camp coming up, or Winner's Circle, or our new research boot camp I just scheduled because so many people have asked me to do it. I usually teach it every couple of years, so we're due for it. Learn how to do your own research and become much more self-sufficient so you know when people are telling you the truth or not, right? Be an informed consumer. All right, so let's get to some news. And today I want to talk about these wearable tracking devices that people have fallen in love with and have become so popular. And I'll just start by saying this. I think if we take a global view of medicine, medical practice has changed a lot during the last few decades, and most of it is not better. I mean, humans used to visit doctors. I remember a time when this was the case, when we were sick or we had symptoms, and doctors would diagnose what was wrong with us and then prescribe drugs, or we'd have a procedure. But today, people have become habituated to seeing doctors when they're perfectly healthy, to be tested and poked and prodded and to look for something wrong. I've advised against this for decades now, because if you look hard enough, you'll find an abnormality in almost any human, including humans that don't have anything wrong with them. It's called disease mongering, diagnosing basically healthy people with pseudo illnesses and herding them into the medical mill. Things have gotten even worse with wearable devices that allow people to practice disease mongering on themselves at home. The products can be purchased off the shelf by anyone, and the promise is that by tracking your biomarkers 24/7, you'll have a better and healthier, longer life. The problem is, it's just not true. Take glucose monitors, for example. They turn normal people into pre-diabetics, a non-existent condition invented by drug companies and both conventional and alternative practitioners to sell drugs and supplements. According to a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, overestimate glucose levels in healthy adults, constantly reporting elevated glucose levels 2 to 4 times more frequently than finger prick tests. According to the study, whole fruit was determined to be terrible. And of course, some of our newer health officials and gurus think that avoiding fruit and eating fries made with beef tallow is better for you, which is another insane thing to talk about on a different day. Overall, CGMs overestimated people's time spent above healthy glucose levels by almost 400%, overestimated by 400%. And one of the reasons is that these devices measure glucose in the fluids surrounding the cells, not directly in the bloodstream. So it appears to be something that would help you track your progress, but it really isn't. Smartwatches and smart rings are also popular, and they're advertised as tracking even more things like pulse and heart rate and blood pressure and blood oxygen levels and even sleep quality. But is this any better, or is it helpful? Well, let's just take one example, AFib. Smartwatches frequently diagnose people with so-called subclinical atrial fibrillation, and many of these people have no symptoms at all. But many of them choose to visit doctors anyway after an abnormality is detected. That's one of the big problems with these particular devices, all of them. The public has been brainwashed to think that early detection saves lives, and also, oh, it's better to be safe than sorry. At least I'll get it checked out. Well, hanging out with doctors is not the pathway to health, but it would be less harmful if informed consent laws were followed and risks and benefits were clearly explained to patients. When people who really have AFib are medicated, strokes are prevented, but bleeding events also occur. And of course, the decision that people have to make is the benefit I'm going to get worth the risk I'm going to take? And there's a fair amount of data on people who have real AFib to suggest that for some people, maybe most people, depending on your perspective, drugs may be helpful. But what about healthy people who track themselves with these wearable devices that notify them that they have subclinical AFib? There are so many of these now that there's actually a term for it, device-detected subclinical atrial fibrillation. There's a whole category of AFib patients that have developed from wearing these devices. Well, two randomized controlled trials and a follow-up analysis actually answer the question. With 20,000 patients over a 10-year period, there would be 1,076 strokes if the patients did not take a blood thinner, and 843 strokes if they did take a blood thinner. Taking a blood thinner would lead to 543 additional bleeding events, but 55 fewer deaths. All right, so it's kind of hard to sort that out. And what does that mean to me? Because this is a 20,000 patient cohort. Well, how does it translate to an individual who wears the smartwatch and is worried about AFib? Well, taking a blood thinner for 10 years would extend your life by 9 days, extend your lifespan by 9 days. If you actually were high risk, you get an extra 11 days of life, right? And of course, you've got the bleeding risk because blood thinners do lead to bleeding events. And the question is the extra 9 or 11 days, excuse me there, worth the chance of a bleeding event? Most people, I think, would say no. Well, all of this that I've shared with you is why I advise people to throw these things out, these ridiculous, inaccurate, disease-mongering devices. Get rid of them. They don't improve your health or increase your lifespan. They distract you from paying attention to the things that actually will: your diet, your exercise, sleep, social interaction, purpose for life, intellectual stimulation. These are things that actually do make a difference. Wearing these stupid devices does not. So I hope that this helps you to maybe just throw the thing out and go back to common sense health. In fact, that's the way I'm going to start our boot camp next week. We're going to talk about common sense health, going back to the way health used to be looked at in a common sense way. And I had somebody ask me the other day, well, how do you know, like, if you're normal weight? I said, take off your clothes and stand in front of a mirror and take a look and see what you see, right? I mean, this is not stuff that requires expert opinion, right? How do you feel? How's your energy level? How much water did you drink yesterday? What did your food journal look like? Keep a food journal for a few days and take a look at it. It's amazing what you can find out by just examining yourself, not by wearing devices, but by just paying attention to your health. So we are going to talk next week about common sense health. All right, one last thing I want to mention for members, new member workshops this summer. You must be a member to attend these workshops. The first one is June 5th, just this week on Thursday. Two doctors are going to let you ask questions. I'll do some interviewing, then we'll open it up for questions. One is a retired family practice doctor, Dr. Tracy Updike. The other is a retired pathologist, Dr. Marcia Shattuck. Both of them are going to talk about their perspective on health, what they see going on out there, give some advice, and of course, you can ask questions too. The July workshop is going to feature Diana Duganitz, who is one of our newer associates. She's a heart math practitioner and also certified in breathwork. So she's going to teach a breathing workshop via Zoom. And then in August, I'm up to teach a member workshop about autism. And I have hours and hours of workshops on autism, but I'll summarize what I think are the important things for you to know in a 2-hour workshop. So you must be a member to participate in these workshops. We don't have an extra fee arrangement for non-members. And in case you don't know, you can join Wellness Forum for just $99 for a basic membership. And then you get to have all these wonderful benefits, including these 3 workshops. All right, well, that's it for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it and learning from me. And I will be back to you on Thursday with more news. Thank you so much for watching.